Hi, Ramstien here from Now Spinning Magazine with the video that I promised for a while, and that is the one looking at the new Ghost album, which then turned into my ranking of all the Ghost albums as I wanted to introduce this band to many of you. But I'm introducing a band to many of you when this band, at the time of making this video, I think is #1 in the album charts in the USA. So they're hardly new, and their first album came out in 2010. And they're not new to me either. Their last album is one that I was introduced to by my son Dan. However, why I want to kind of talk about Ghost is the fact that they're now starting to appear in all of these traditional classic rock Facebook pages and groups and magazines, and there's people saying, "Oh, I'm not buying this again because you know, Ghost aren't a real rock band." For Christ's sake, I mean, the amount of people who say, "Oh, there's no new rock music, or rock music's going to die out with Ozzy Osbourne ever falls off his perch, it's all gone, classic rock's gone," and you know that I want to move away from the phrase classic rock. I think it's, it looks backwards when rock music has always looked forwards. And to me, Ghost look forwards. The world needs spectacular rock bands that put on a fantastic show. Obviously bands like Kiss are going to hang up their shoes and their platform boots soon. Ramstien are getting on a bit, and they do a spectacular show. If you go onto YouTube and you search for Ghost, they do a spectacular show. This is a new dynamic band from, yet again, another band from Sweden. The UK might have had the 70s, the USA had the 80s, but whatever's going on now in the 2020s, Sweden have got it. There are so many rock bands from that area. Symphonic rock, AOR, melodic rock, full-on metal, and Ghost. Absolutely brilliant. Now, I'm the same as anyone else, because when I saw this imagery on the first album, I just thought, yeah, I know what that's going to be like. Seen that before. Upside down T looking like an upside down cross, and they all wear masks, and this time they're all the same mask, and it says played by a bunch of ghouls, so you don't know who is in it. I just thought, ugh. And looking at Gothic fonts, I've thought that the age of the Gothic font had gone. It probably had, actually, but it's time it came back. And the song titles with the word Satan in and stuff like that. So I just presumed I knew what this would be like, and I was wrong, completely wrong. My musical sense of adventure was in different places. But what I was missing out on was a fantastic rock band. Now, this is the first album from 2010, and there's lots of Gothic organ and church organ and choirs and stuff, and yes, fantastic. And the song titles are what you'd expect them to be: Death Knell, Genesis, and that kind of stuff. Ritual, great track. But there was elements on this of like the new wave of British heavy metal, that kind of garage band type riffage. But what drew me in was the vocals, because it wasn't. I got so used to rock bands having like full-on guitars and amplification, and the vocalist who strains at the top of his range to be on the top of this, whether we've got so used to, the far end of that extreme, like death metal vocals, and then really histrionic kind of, full-on rock vocals as well. This is melodic, and the nearest comparison, I would say, and again, I'm going to use my reference point because of where I'm from, is Blue Oyster Cult. It's like Blue. Harmonies are just beautiful. So this is a great album. And then they were called Ghost BC at this point, and this was the next one, and they were quite not that adventurous on the packaging. Maybe because at the time, this is 2013, I think, CD sales are probably on decline. But I thought, is it worth it? It is worth it. And the new album's got the biggest booklet of all of them. But this, again, the imagery's all there, but the production on this album is far in advance of the first one. And you've got Zombie Queen, which is a yes, I know it's one of those titles. It's a great track. Body and Blood, Year Zero, Monstrous Clock, Depth of Satan's Eyes. And yeah, the lyrics are very macabre and very inventive and very clever, but the delivery is what makes them different, because it's commercial rock. They're commercial songs with beautiful melodies, great instrumentation, fantastic guitar playing. Absolutely brilliant. The next one in, and ranking these albums is a doddle. And the reason why is because every single album is better than the one that precedes it. And this is really unusual, I think. And especially with my ears, where I've heard decades worth of rock music and explored bands' back catalogues, that most bands trip up and stumble every so often. Maybe they're rushed and they've been on tour and they didn't have time to write it down, and there's an album that they don't quite get it together, and the next one is better. Not with Ghost. Every one, as I played them in sequence, is better than the one before. I think that makes them quite unique to me. So the third album is from 2015, and this has got Mummy Dust on it, which has got killer riffs. Absolutely killer riffs on this. Absolutely brilliant. Devil Church, Spirit, brilliant track. Cirrhosis is a great track. And the guitar playing, the synth playing, the songs, the harmonies. Again, there are blue. Yeah, I can't move away from the Blue Oyster Cult stuff. There's even one riff that's a bit like Godzilla. But where the comparisons of Blue Oyster Cult are genuine. I don't even know if the band listened to Blue Oyster Cult. But the thing is with Blue Oyster Cult is I love that band. As you know, the Blue Oyster Cult box set is one of my favourite box sets in my collection. But the Blue Oyster Cult were not consistent really after the first batch of albums. They kind of had hit and miss. But Ghost it's just hit. Every single one of them is fantastic. This one, which is called Pope Star, is an EP. There is another EP, but I don't have that. And what I like about the EP is that they're cover versions, but they're like cover versions of 80s pop. A bit like Sammy Hagar did Depeche Mode, the song, didn't he? What's it called? Jesus Christ, something. I can't remember. Sorry, but you'll know what I mean. And because there's a lot of 80s pop that transfers to heavy rock and metal really, really well. And some of the tracks on here are from Echo and the Bunnymen and the Eurythmics, and especially Nocturnal. And it's just brilliant. Really inventive. Really, really inventive. There's female vocals on this as well, and it's really, really good. That brings me to the next one, which would be my entry point for anyone who doesn't know where to go and but wants to catch up without spending lots of money on all of these CDs. And that would have to be Ceremony and Devotion, which is the double live album. This is great. This is really, really good. And if you watch them on YouTube, you realise just how spectacular they are. I mean, I do, I've got nothing against bands that wear masks and stuff. I suppose you want them like thinking about, I'm a big Kiss fan. I would like the masks to be kind of representative of the personality behind them, but that isn't the image that Ghost and the guy, the genius behind it, wants to do. It's like kind of like it is really like anonymous in a way. But this is fantastic. Two CDs, and all the best tracks from what has gone before. Elizabeth is a great track. As I say, you've got Ritual, is a real great. Mummy Dust again, really heavy stuff, but it's they're commercial. They take the best of that. Yeah, they're commercial songs, but they are a rock band. I was reading a review in Music Week about the people behind the marketing for this band, and they don't really have to do anything. This is a band that's marketing themselves through image and their own mythology that's building up around them. But this is a great live album, and I think I'm one of them myself, and I'm not going to say I'm going to walk away from it. When I talk about doing reviews on this channel, I will talk about the classic live albums and the classic albums from when I was growing up and from over the decades, and think about how hard it is for new bands to just try and get ahead of that. I remember being in a band myself in the 80s, and the singer said to me, when are bands like the Scorpions and Deep Purple going to get out of the way so the new bands can break through? In a way, they're still there. But this is why this is so important, because this band, Ghost, are breaking through. And as we start to sell all the classic live albums, to me, this is a classic live double album. It's exciting. It's brilliantly recorded, and it sounds great on my stereo, and I absolutely loved it. So it brings me to my second favourite Ghost album, which is called Prequelle, which is this one. And this one, to me, has got everything in it that makes it an absolute fantastic album. But the track that really made me sit up is on this album. It's an instrumental, and it's called Maya Sama, and it has a saxophone solo on it. And how often do you hear a saxophone on albums? Any period. I remember in the 70s, every pop song on the chart had a sax solo on it, and there's one on this, and it works so well, and it's so atmospheric, and it's got great guitar riffs, wonderful synth solos. This is a very clever rock album. It's a rock album. It deserves to be classed as heavy metal and rock, or even pop rock, or even whatever you want to call it. This, to me, is a great rock band. I love to be entertained, and I love to not second guess what's going to happen, but I like the richness of music, and I like artists that kind of aren't predictable. And there's a lot of there's a lot of intelligence behind this music, and there's a lot of talent, and I think this band are going to be absolutely huge for a very long time. They are breaking through. And what's great, you think about what rock music is, of the real rock bands. I'm not talking about, we're a metal band and we're going to plough this field. Our bands like Queen, Thin Lizzy or whatever in the UK, bands that were able to literally spread out and pull in people from all different types of music who say, I like them. Because, Queen are probably a good example. Because when I first discovered Queen, they were a heavy rock group. Queen, first album, second album, Sheer Heart Attack, and they started to have pop singles. And then, of course, they maintained their rock fan base even when they were doing the sub kind of disco pop stuff in the 80s, because people just accepted that. And I think that Ghost, a bit different probably because of the imagery and some of the lyrical content, but I think they will cross over into different markets, and they are bringing rock music back to the mainstream. Guitars, drums, bass, riffs, choruses, and it really is the vocals as well. So, what is the best Ghost album? It's the latest one, by miles, to me. They're all good. But this one, it's got the great CD booklet. But this one is just superb. It just the songwriting, the choruses, the harmonies, the guitar playing. It's just immaculate. I really, really enjoyed this. Now, so if you're out there thinking rock's dead, nothing new, I've heard it all before, yeah, you will pick up influences. Everyone's been influenced by something. But this is really exciting. This is a great time to be alive, to know that that bands, and they're not from the UK or USA, from Sweden, are breaking through and absorbing new fresh ears and eyes, are thinking, wow, that sounds good. It's the music is in safe hands. And I really, really enjoyed this. And yeah, look at the imagery. If I go back to when I was 14 or 15, I'd have gone for that. I'd have thought, yeah, that's me. That's what I want to see. Those early Sabbath album covers. Yep, I'm in. But what makes it different is the fact that it's not this music, this band, and this album is crossing over to people who didn't think they were into this kind of music, because the songwriting is fantastic. This is some of the music on here is more prog. It's more elaborate, it's more epic. The songwriting is expanding in different directions. This is their most adventurous album that they've done. And you can tell, if you compare this to the first album, how far that journey has come. But there's nothing wrong with the first album. And I think that's what's great about listening to this whole back catalogue, is seeing the progress. So, if you've only got enough money for an album, this. If you want to expand, it's the one down from that, the last one. And if you want to scoop up what you can without going through all the others, get the live double. And then you've got a great set of Ghost albums. But brilliant band, absolutely worth exploring. Stream them, collect them, and get on board and watch them on YouTube. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of the Now Spinning magazine journey. And please ring that little bell thing. Join us on the Facebook group if you like, and talk about your favourite albums and what you're listening to. And if you want to get more involved, then become part of the Now Spinning crew by becoming a patron and supporting me and helping me create even more content for you. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you on my next video.